This is it, the last full day of Barack Obama's presidency. In a final presidential press conference, Obama laid out some of his plans for the hours leading up to the inauguration of Donald Trump. Because he's a lame duck. But Obama has not let the clock run out on his presidency without taking some substantial actions. He took these actions without consulting with Congress, as befits the man who signed fewer bills into law than any other president, including Jimmy Carter, who only served one term and was a total doofus. Among these final Obama acts, Obama stood by and allowed the United Nations, a famous New York house of ill repute, to pass a resolution condemning our ally Israel for building settlements in East Jerusalem, a city whose name is derived from the word Yerushalayim, which is Hebrew because the city has been the Jewish capital since around 1,000 years before Jesus was a twinkle in the eye of God, who, by the way, gets really mad when jackasses mess with his people, the Jews. So don't do it. Oops, too late. Obama also ended the policy of wet foot, dry foot. So now, if you're enjoying living under Cuban communism so much that you want to spread the word by building a raft out of coconuts roped together with phlegm and then paddling the 110 miles through shark-infested waters with your children clinging to the edges until the survivors manage to claw their way through the raging surf to touch the blessed free shores of America, our country can thank you for letting us know what a great system communism is and then send you back to enjoy it even more. Obama also commuted the sentence of Bradley Manning, who is now Chelsea Manning because he got tired of Manning and wanted to start womaning, but who, while he was still Manning, was also traitoring by releasing secret documents that put America's friends overseas in mortal danger. Manning may still demand that the government pay for his sex change operation, which, by the way, I offered to do for free until the knife was wrested from my hand. Obama says before he leaves office, he would like to take yet a few more steps in keeping with his personal beliefs and temperament. Those steps include releasing Islamic terrorists from Guantanamo Bay so they can kill more Americans, driving through London and screaming Queen Elizabeth is ugly, tooey, 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 sneaking into the Lincoln Monument and putting an Obama mask on the statue there, and scrawling Donald Trump as a stinky head on the walls of the Oval Office in red crayon. When asked whether he was being a petty, petulant, self-obsessed, anti-American weasel, Obama had this to say. Because he's a lame duck. Trigger warning, I'm Andrew Klavan, and this is The Andrew Klavan Show.
I feel hunky-dunky, life is tickety-boo. Birds are winging, also singing hunky-dunky-doo. Ship-shaped, tipsy-topsy, the world is zippity-zing. It's a wonderful day, hurrah, hooray! It makes me want to sing. Oh, hurrah, hooray! Oh, hooray, hurrah!
A new age now begins. This is it. I cannot believe it. The next time we meet after the Klavanless weekend, it's going to be Obama's Klavanless weekend. And we'll have a new president. This is going to be an exciting time. I am excited. It will also be a little uncertain, and that's why we keep peddling Birch Gold to you, because Birch will help you out by protecting your investments in cash, so you can also have some investments in gold, which traditionally keeps its value better than cash, especially in troubled and turbulent times. Birch Gold brings physical gold directly to your door. We'll sell you physical gold and bring it directly to your door. And listen, you don't have to listen to me talk about it. You can get a free 16-page kit. We'll tell you how gold and silver can protect your savings and how you can legally move your IRA or 401k out of risky stocks and bonds and into a precious metals IRA. To get this no cost, no obligation 16-page kit, go to www.birchgold.com/Andrew. That's www.birchgold.com/Andrew. This is a big deal because, even if the economy starts to come back, there could be inflation. Whether you're young or old, you want to make sure that your cash retains, your investments retain their values. This is a company that people trust. It has a long-standing track record of continued success with thousands of satisfied clients, countless five-star reviews, and an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. And right now, thanks to a little-known IRS tax law, you can move your IRA or eligible 401k into an IRA backed by physical gold. So contact Birch Gold Group right now to request a free information kit on physical precious metals, a 16-page kit that you get by going to www.birchgold.com/Andrew, www.birchgold.com/Andrew. No wonder nobody. All right, President Obama. Well, we're having a good time. That's the important thing. We can't pay our rent, but we're having a good time. President Obama. You remember President Obama. He gave his last press conference yesterday, a little teary-eyed. And I'm going to start out by playing you this very long, over 2 minutes, anthology of questions from Grabian, a really good website that puts these things together. This is Obama tells the press that they are they gave him a tough time. They asked him the tough questions. They were skeptical. They were tough on him, but that's the way America is supposed to be. And then a selection of the questions they asked him. It's so amazing. I just wanted to play a really large segment of it.
You're not supposed to be sycophants. You're supposed to be skeptics. You're supposed to ask me tough questions.
On LGBT rights, we've seen a lot of achievements over the past 8 years, including signing hate crime protection legislation, don't ask, don't tell repeal, marriage equality nationwide, and ensuring transgender people feel visible and respected. How do you think LGBT rights will rank in terms of your accomplishments and your legacy? And how confident are you that progress will endure or continue under the president-elect?
Mr. President, thank you very much. You have said that you would come back to fight for the Dreamers. You said that a couple of weeks ago. Are you fearful for the status of those Dreamers, the future of the young immigrants and all immigrants in this country with the new administration?
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to ask you about your conversations with the president-elect. Were you able to use that opportunity to convince him to take a fresh look at some of the important ideas that you will leave this office with? Maintaining some semblance of the Affordable Care Act, some idea of keeping Dreamers here in the country without fear of deportation. Were you able to use personal stories to try to convince him, and how successful were you?
Thank you, Mr. President. Long before today, you've been considered a rights president. Under your watch, people have said that you have expanded the rubber band of inclusion, and with the election and the incoming administration, people are saying that rubber band has recoiled and maybe is even broken. And I'm thinking back to a time on Air Force One going to Selma, Alabama, when you said your job was to close the gaps that remain. And with that, what gaps still remain when it comes to rights issues on the table? And also, what part will you play in fixing those gaps in your new life?
I appreciate the opportunity, and I want to wish you and your family best of luck in the future.
Thank you.
Mr. Trump promised to move the embassy to Jerusalem. He appointed an ambassador that doesn't believe in a two-state solution. How worried are you about the U.S. leadership in the Arab world and beyond as an honest broker? Will this ignite a third intifada? Will this even protect Israel? And in retrospect, do you think that you should have held Israel more accountable?
Oh, the least I can do is give her the last question as President of the United States. Go ahead.
Still works. So.
Yeah, there you go. Go ahead.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. It has been an honor.
It has been an honor. It has been an honor asking you these tough questions. How great are your achievements? What did you do to Donald? Could you convince Donald Trump to preserve the greatness of your greatness? How great is your greatness? Is your greatness greater than other greatness, or is this the greatest greatness that ever has been great? These guys are so sucked into this fantasy that something remarkable has happened. And I ask anybody, any observer, any fair observer, to look at this country over the last 8 years. Has anything remarkable, has this country changed in any remarkable way that is going to stay changed? The only thing that I would say, which really didn't have that much to do with Obama, it was the court passing the gay marriage right. But I told you that was coming down the pike years ago. I told conservatives that we were going to lose that battle. It must have been 10, 15 years ago. And I told them that they basically was the one thing the left was right about. Gay people should be left alone. But, it's amazing. And these are just to remember how wise these people are, how much these people know about the world. Let's remember how this press corps reacted when Donald Trump announced his presidency. Let's have an anthology of that.
The Daily News considers Trump a clown. The New York Post considers Trump a rich guy who could make it to the White House.
I do not hate Donald Trump, but I do not take him seriously. I thought, everything that was garish and ridiculous about him was fully on display. unconventional. Will people who love him love it? Yeah, but will it get him anywhere close to becoming the nominee or the president of the United States? I think not.
I think there is a vein for him to tap, and he's going to get some serious votes. He can't win, but he can get a lot of votes.
While no one expects Trump to get close to winning the nomination, that doesn't mean that they're happy he's in.
I mean, this is the problem with Donald Trump for Republicans. Of course, he's not going to win. He probably will make the main stage. He'll be one of the top 10 vote getters just because of name recognition and our obsession with stardom. The problem is he's going to be a flamethrower. He has nothing to lose.
But he says the most provocative things, like when Mexico sends its people, they're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. What is your strategy, and how can you succeed when you say things like that?
Well, you can't, again, Gail, if the question is how can you become president, you can't by saying things like that.
Can we stipulate for the purposes of this conversation that Donald Trump will never be president of the United States?
See, there's nothing wrong with being wrong. Nobody can see the future, and we're all wrong sometimes. And this was a black swan election. And certainly, I never thought when he started running, I never thought he was going to get anywhere. I remember saying at one point that I didn't think he'd win a single primary. The one thing is, though, when you're wrong, you got to look at what you did wrong. You got to start to change your mind, you know? I keep hearing people saying, well, it was humbling, but I don't see anybody getting humble. You know, I don't see anybody saying, well, maybe I should shut up a little bit, back off, listen a little bit, see where this guy is going, give him a second chance, you know, really take another look at what he did. Since he wrong-footed me, maybe he deserves kind of respect to see where he's going to go with all this. But CNN has a better idea. CNN has a better idea of how we should react. We tried the recounts. That didn't work. We tried to convince the electoral college voters to change their minds. That didn't work. We tried to overturn the electoral college in the Congress. That didn't work. But CNN has one last idea that might work. Listen to this.
And while officials stress there's no specific, credible threat to this inauguration, tonight, due to a quirk in America's rules for succession, questions remain about just who would be in charge if an attack hit the incoming president, vice president, and congressional leaders just as the transfer of power is underway.
Here you have a very confusing line of succession.
According to the Constitution, if the president and vice president are killed or incapacitated, next in line is the House Speaker, then the president pro tempore of the Senate. But what if something happened to them at the inauguration, too? After that, it goes down the list of cabinet secretaries, starting with Secretary of State. On the day of the inauguration, as a precaution, a cabinet secretary called the designated presidential successor will not attend the inauguration, ready to step in if something happens. But it won't be a Trump cabinet secretary, since none of them have been confirmed yet. It will be an Obama appointee.
That's it. That's it. Why didn't we think of this before? We just kill everybody. Then Kiefer Sutherland becomes president, and he's an Obama appointee. You know, sure, we got to kill Obama and Biden too, but CNN, as far as CNN is concerned, they did their job. You know, it's like now they can be this. I mean, these guys. Well, you know, the reason is the media. You know, we keep saying the media is on the side of the left. That's true. The media is left, but it's also globalist, you know. And when I use the word globalist, I don't mean like this is some big conspiracy. It's two different visions of the world. There's a vision of the world in which we're a collection of nation states in competition with each other in terms of not just in terms of economics, but also in terms of culture, in terms of belief. We have to examine our core beliefs, examine the sources of our core beliefs, cling to them. When we go astray from them, come back to them, argue about them. You know, part of the glory of the West is being self-critical. By the way, which, you know, I mean, one of the reasons I'm not a fist thumper, you know, I'm not a guy who's always shouting, that's this way, because I think part of being self-critical is part of the glory of the West. But, you know, the other side of this is this kind of global vision where unelected bureaucrats and experts are going to tell us all how well this is going to go. They're going to run our lives for us. And then when you say it's not working, you know, when you say it's not working, they're stunned. You know, it's kind of like all week long we've been talking about the fact that the kind of wall of black support for the Democrats is kind of crumbling around Trump. I mean, I think there are a lot of people who realize that Obama was inspiring. They loved having him in there and all this, great guy and the whole, but they didn't get anything. Their neighborhoods still stink, and these policies don't work. And I think a lot of these people, they know Trump. You know, they understand Trump. He is a down to earth person speaking English. They get it. They understand who this guy is, and they don't hate him as much as the left keeps telling them they're supposed to. So, all the left ever does is, oh, blacks, they're victims. It's terrible. It's terrible. Their lives are so awful. Your life is so you can't do anything for yourself. And then Donald Trump gets up and says, look, your life is awful. Under Democrats, what have you got to lose by changing? And they say, what a terrible thing to say. What a terrible thing that would. Remember Hillary Clinton, how can you say that when they're so vibrant, they're so, like, what are you talking about? What is like an island nation, where the people are dancing and singing? These are the inner cities. People are blowing each other to pieces. And it stinks. And it's those policies, those left-wing expert policies that don't work. We got to say goodbye to Facebook and to YouTube, but come to thedailywire.com. You can listen to the rest, subscribe to thedailywire.com, and you don't have to bounce around like this, like some itinerant with no home. You can just stay and watch the whole thing on the website and also send your questions into the mailbag.